Welcome to the 9th week of the Adventure Life Coaching Program. As always, I am your Adventure Life Coach coming to you from sunny South Africa, John Henry Burnett. Can you believe we're already into the second last video of this amazing program? I guess time really does fly when you're having fun. Now in this week number 9, we'll continue our conversation where we left off in week number 8 by looking at the SMART goal theory. Remember, we said that SMART within the SMART goal theory stands for specific, measurable, achievable, result focused, and time bound. Now in week number 8, we unfortunately only got to look at the first part of the SMART goal theory, and that was the S part, the specific part. And we said when setting short-term goals that make up your bigger ULA, you have to be extremely specific about everything involved within the short-term goal. And we said there are 5 questions, 5 W's that you have to ask yourself. Who, what, when, where and why. Who, what, when, where and why. You remember that? Those 5 questions will help you be extremely specific about each and every short-term goal. Now in this week number 9, we'll continue this conversation and we'll look at the M-A-R-T parts of the SMART goal theory. Measurable, achievable, result focused and time bound. The second part of the SMART goal theory stands for measurable. And that has to do with the fact that you, my friend, have to be able to continuously measure yourself and your progress within each and every short-term goal that makes up your bigger ULA. Now remember, last week we helped you to break down your ULA into short-term goals, and now we're looking at each and every short-term goal individually, and we're asking ourselves, how will we measure ourselves and our progress within that short-term goal? Well, my friend, it has to do with the short-term goal itself, the type of short-term goal that you're chasing down. Take me as an example. Last week I told you that my 4th short-term goal in my ULA is to ride with my bicycle from Cape Town, South Africa to Fjordstad in Namibia. Now that is the short-term goal, and I will measure myself in the context of the cycling journey. I'll do it day per day. I know on the first day I have to reach Klein Willem, and on the second day I have to reach Pakketberg, and so on and so forth. You see, I'm measuring myself per day. Now let's say on the second day I do not reach Pakketberg. I know that I've fallen behind. I'm not making progress. So now I have to put in a backup plan, or I have to make some adjustments on my journey. But if I do not measure myself, I run the risk of eventually not completing the short-term goal and not reaching my ULA, and we don't want that. So my friend, you have to go look at the short-term goal that you're chasing down, and then you have to go decide how will you measure yourself within that short-term goal. So the third part of the SMART goal theory is called achievable. And this has to do with, are your short-term goals achievable or aren't they? Now my friend, always make sure that you set goals for yourself that are achievable. Don't aim too high. Don't set goals for yourself that are simply not achievable, because remember, your short-term goals form the building blocks of your ULA, and if you cannot complete certain short-term goals because they weren't achievable from the beginning, then you cannot complete your ULA, and that, my friend, is a dangerous place to be at. So therefore, make sure that your short-term goals are always achievable. Now, how do you do this? My friend, only you can determine whether or not they're achievable. Ask yourself, do you have the required resources, the energy, the motivation, the inspiration, the time, etc. to complete this goal? If not, then change that short-term goal into something that is more realistic, something that is more achievable. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with chasing down a high goal. For very often, it is easier to reach a high goal than it is to reach a low goal, because the internal motivation for a high goal is much more than it is for a low goal. So go ahead, dream big and chase down high goals. Just always make sure that they are realistic and that they are achievable. The third part of the SMART goal theory is called result focused. And this means that each of your short-term goals within your bigger ULA or ultimate life adventure must have its own unique or specific result on which you'll be focusing when you're within that short-term goal. So each of your short-term goals will have its own unique result. Now, what is that result within each of your short-term goals? Obviously, it will differ from short goal to short goal, and you get to decide what the result is that you're chasing. As in my case, of my fourth short-term goal in my bigger ULA, the result will simply be to get to Vjoolshoek on my bicycle in X amount of time. Now that is the result that I'm focusing, and I cannot let anything sidetrack me from this result. I always have to be focusing on that specific result, and so too do you. Always keep the result in mind. Always be asking yourself, how much further do I need to go to get the result? What must I sacrifice? What must I do? Who's gonna help me get there? Always keep the result in mind. Now, there are many people who differ from us coaches, saying that you should not always be focusing on the result, you should be focusing on the journey around you. At Adventure Life Coaching, we cannot agree more. You should always be focusing on the journey, and therefore we've created this plan of ULAs. The ULAs is the plan itself to help you live out a beautiful, colorful, fun and adventurous journey, focusing on the adventure that you are living right now. But if you do not have a specific result in mind for each of your short-term goals, you'll never reach those ULAs, which means that you cannot continue on this wonderful map that is called your destiny. So the fifth and final part of the SMART goal theory is called time bound. And that means that each of your short-term goals that make up your bigger ULA must be bound to time. It means that it must have a time limit on it, a predetermined time limit. So before you start with each of your short-term goals, know exactly how long that short-term goal will take for you to complete. If you do not put a time limit on this, you run the risk of just lingering through the process and never ever finishing that specific short-term goal. And if you do that, you cannot complete your ULA, which means you cannot continue on this map of this wonderful thing called destiny. So therefore, be extremely specific when it comes to setting time limits to each of your short-term goals. So there you have it, my friends. We have come to the end of video number 9, and there is only one video left. Can you believe it? The final video of the Adventure Life Coaching Program, and you can check that out next week. Before you get there, let's just quickly recap on what happened in this video, video number 9. Remember, we had an in-depth study on the SMART goal theory, and we said that you have ULAs in place which will help you live out your destiny of fun, color and adventure. But that you have to take that ULA, all of your ULAs, and break them down into specific short-term goals, and that each of your short-term goals must always be true to the 5 principles of the SMART goal theory. They must always be specific, measurable, achievable, result focused and time bound. If you do this, my friend, you cannot go wrong. You will see all your short-term goals and all of your ULAs come to pass, and those will help you live out your destiny of fun, color and adventure. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, share it if you will, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I hope to see you again next week in the final episode of the Adventure Life Coaching Program. I'm looking forward to it. Bye bye.